So what would you like to know?
Um, I was just wondering, like, what big challenges you might have faced as you just interact with your daily life, and what do you do for a living?
How is it going to help you to know who you truly are?
Um, like I said, it's just, if I want to really start intellectualizing, then I could question everything, whether whatever I read is there any truth in anything at all? I could have layers and layers of questioning. All I know is that I am interacting with either a reality or an illusion, and I am taking some things as truth, taught by some teachers, and they could also be part of that reality or illusion. So, to a large extent, I guess just accepting that teaching and being there is the easiest. But when I'm interacting with everyday reality and stuff, it's just interesting to know.
So first of all, when one thinks they interact with everyday reality, basically the only interaction I find that I have, and correct me if you're different than me, is I'm interacting with my thoughts about what I call reality, which is life. So my interaction is between thoughts, what I perceive myself to be, and what I think about what is happening in life. So this is my interaction, basically, moment by moment, every day of the life. And when I don't have any particular thought, then there's just silence. And that silence is who I truly am. This is my real nature. This silence, and this is your nature too. Now, it's not something that you can accept, because silence cannot be accepted nor negated. It can only be directly experienced as you, not as a thought. Anything you accept or negate is of the mind, is of the thinking process, mental thinking. That's all.
Yeah, I agree. So, yes, definitely that's clearly, I'm not in continual silence, that means, because I do feel like, in the analogy of, I don't know, the simplest way to explain would be like Shiva and Shakti. And the Shiva is what we're talking about. I don't know if you, should I explain more about what I understand of it, or do you know what I mean?
Explain.
So the Shiva is the silence, in my understanding, that witnessing consciousness. And the Shakti is the interaction with, the engaging with the reality. In my understanding, just my thought about it. So a few months ago, I just decided I just want to I want to direct the way I engage with the reality. I quit my job, and before I knew it, I had 3 weeks of like very quiet time. It was amazing, but before I knew it, I had made certain conscious decisions, and life, I guess, destiny or whatever you want to call it, I'm back in an even more intense job situation. I teach music to little kids. I'm back in a very no minute in between my day kind of reality again. And I know it's a conscious choice.
There is a quote that Ramana says, it's very nice. Basically, you heard about Ramana Maharshi?
Oh yeah.
So, if I look at the way karma is, whatever is supposed to happen will happen. Whatever is not supposed to happen will not happen. So, if it's predestined to happen, you can try as you may to change it. It's not going to change. And so, if somebody is supposed to work, even if they decide not to work, temporarily they might be not working, and then they would go into work as much as they need to. And if they are not supposed to work, they can try all day long to find a job, and they would never find a job because in their destiny, karma, they are not supposed to work. So I don't think that one has to be concerned. It's an illusion, at least from the experience I have, that I decide how life plays itself out.
So that's really interesting, because that's exactly one of the things I've kind of wondered about. Is it conscious choice? Is it like free will, or is it just the flow? And I think they both merge the closer you get to your true self. I mean, but at the same time, I feel like I don't really know everything. Even when I'm talking to you or asking you something, I know that the answers are in myself if I want to just think about it. It's like there's no, always that, how do I know that's the mind, and I'm very aware of it. So to some extent that because I love Ramana and he has shown up in my illusion or reality, I'm going to take his word that it's that way, right? I mean, this is just playing devil's advocate.
Except that don't take the word of anybody, including Ramana. He is using the words to point you. You have to examine it, put it into test, observe it, how it plays itself out. When you have direct knowledge of it from within, then you don't take his word. Because if you take his word, you stay in a belief, and a belief will keep you always in doubt. Maybe it is, maybe it is not. Yet when you have direct knowing, you don't believe anymore. You know that this is how it plays itself out.
So do you know if it's free will or destiny in your experience, or is that just relative to your life? And I have to find out for myself.
It's better for you to find out from yourself. I can share what I observe. I can share that even when I want something and I try everything, if it's not supposed to happen, it doesn't happen. What is your experience? Go to the past. The memory is not a bad thing. You use it as a tool. That's all.
Right. So, in the past, I feel I was, till a few years ago, I feel like I made a lot of unconscious choices. And that I can see was part of destiny or karma, because I had to awaken. I guess what I'm trying to understand is, then if we come with a destiny or a flow that we're supposed to live, then is it because we've planned it that way to learn something? And I know ultimately it's not like it. Okay, so I guess the way to put it is, do we come with a destiny, or is it that every moment we are changing that because of what we do? And it seems like it might be the latter, because this is another belief system that you can create your reality or your illusion, whatever you want to call it, and that you can manifest. So there's this, if I am the absolute and the all-powerful and the divine, then I should be able to create my illusion, right?
What is your experience?
It's a mix. I think a certain level of surrender allows me to accept destiny. But at the same time, we have to do some, that's where it is, right? We also make decisions and engage. So, I know it's very intellectual and it's probably unnecessary, but
it's necessary if it happens. It's necessary if it happens. The picture is frozen. You turn it? Yeah.
Yeah, I can. Okay.
Turn it on. Yeah. Thank you. So, what I recognize, the only thing I create is a story about things or events that are happening.
Yes, I agree.
So then event happens and I say, yeah, oh yeah, I caused this, yeah, I create a story out of this, nothing more. And then I say, yeah, I've done it. It's because I was thinking it and projecting it and all of that, which the fact is, I cannot know if it was predestined already. And the second thing is, I can't even know what would be the next thought that appear. So what do I do really? If I don't really think, thoughts appear, and I can't even know what would be my next physical action. If I ask you, if you stay still for a moment, do you know what would be the next movement of the physical body? Don't move.
That's what, if I choose to, I can choose to, or I can be, right?
It's nothing to do with that. You couldn't even tell what would be your first movement, which you smiled actually. So we don't know what would be the next movement in the body. We don't know what would be the next thought. And the mind so arrogantly thinks that it is doing the thinking, that it's doing everything. And it says, I'm doing it, I'm manifesting all of it.
No, agreed. So what I feel is that we have, when you talk about memory, right? So it's that stored impressions that we have. Who knows, was there a previous birth or whatever, or from this birth? And that's what, so when we talk about the thoughts that we create, it's because of the impressions that are already there. There is something already existing in my subconscious storage, which is now causing certain reality to appear in front of me, right?
Yeah.
So can we clean it out and refill it with, I mean, these are just...
No need to clean it out. It's like, when you dream at night, do you need to clean the dream you had so you can dream a new dream when you realize it is not real even? Why should you clean it?
If I want to have fun with my dream, if it's a dream and I know it's a dream, I just will have a fun dream. I don't want to have a nightmare. Can I control my dream?
I don't experience a fun dream. What I experience when I am one with what is, then it's harmony, it's peace, it's a sense of silence. And this is what I'm interested, and this is what you're interested. Not a fun dream, because the fun turns to be not fun, and what gets you excited turns to be disappointing, and the pleasure turns to be pain, and pain turns to be pleasure. They just follow each other and cancel each other. I don't think that's what you're looking for.
No,
Nobody's
I totally
looking
agree.
for that.
Yes, I think when I say, I mean, it is at a superficial level, but um, it's to some extent, okay, I'm here. Can I just, if it is a bubble, then can't I just create the bubble I want? And then knowing it is an illusion. So, and
You know what? It doesn't work. Because I noticed that when I want something, I start getting attached to it. And I'm afraid to lose what I want. And also, because I want it and I give it meaning, I start to react to it. So it causes me pain and suffering. I can't, it doesn't work. It's
yeah,
like...
I kind of agree, but at the same time, I've started seeing a pattern in being able to watch from a distance that let's say I want something, whatever it is, and it's not happening, but I'm now starting to watch with curiosity my reactions to when I think I might create it. And I'm completely watching almost as an audience. And so the level of attachment to it and the level of pain that would probably come with if it's disengaged is going down like exponentially. But you're right. Maybe
so you're not creating. Basically, you cultivating the stand, being aloof to it and watching it, and not being engaged in it, observing it as it is. This is not creating. This is observing the latent habits play themselves out.
Yes, that's what I'm doing. But I'm curious that if it does show up, I would not, just because of past lessons learned, then you're absolutely right. I think
I'm sharing something that you might recognize, and that's your experience. So it's not foreign to you.
Okay.
That's all we talk about. And I always invite, it's like, if I look at karma and I understand that whatever is supposed to happen will happen, and whatever is not supposed to happen will not happen, which means we can see that it's all future, right? And means future is actually a projection of the past. Without the past, there cannot be a future. So the wise pointed out, because fear is of the future only, there's no fear of what happened. It's already finished. It's gone. You're not afraid of what happened. And you're not afraid of what is happening now. You or anybody, me or anybody, is afraid of always what might happen in the future. So karma points that whatever's supposed to happen will happen. So it doesn't really matter whether you're concerned or being afraid about it or not. So just leave the future alone, relax, and come back to the present, which is a trick too, because it's come back to who you truly are. Come back and examine your thoughts. Inquire into your true nature and leave the future. Because the only reason why the mind is concerned about the future, because he believes the past is real. So he keeps projecting it. So people say, so how would I plan? Easy. Plan with the understanding that you're just imagining that there is a future. There is no really future.
Yeah, it's less about planning than about yeah.
Okay. So creating and manifesting, basically it boils down to money, isn't it? So what is it boils down to?
Any latent desire that I might want to experience.
Yeah.
So money is so
it's all around. So I'll move from money and I'll say it's all around body identification.
identification of I as who I think I am. Since I've not experienced continuity of something else. Yes, it is to do with what do I think I want to finish experiencing in this lifetime.
And it's not, I would invite you to examine if you're not continuously experiencing you. When you say I don't experience myself continuously, who you are, actually the conceptual image, the I that you have about yourself is not continuous.
Yeah, I think the reason I said that is because I feel that if I'm actually in that state which Ramana or it's a totally different state. Right now it's an intellectual reminding myself and I can get back to that state. But clearly if you've transcended and if you're continuously, your whole perception of past, present, future will collapse and everything will just switch, and that's what I mean by
how
saying
do you
I'm
know?
not.
How do you know? Isn't it you imagine it?
Yeah, it's my concept. And that's what I'm saying. I have a belief system and I'm like, there must be something else more than this intellectual reminding myself of, oh, I'm,
So the whole work that Ramana and Nazir Gadatta and others are pointing is not this, or not real, yeah, or Shankaracharya. He's pointing about discriminating. So even this idea, how it's supposed to look like,
yes,
this is not real either. This is not true.
Exactly. That's exactly it, because that's what I'm saying. I don't even know. Each of us is creating based upon, whatever we watch in the news or TV or the lives we live or with what we interact and engage. We have drawn around us with our thoughts and a particular reality. And Ramana and all these teachers are right now part of that. And so what if that is also part of the, who knows?
It is part.
It is a part, yeah.
It's part of the illusion, because in a very simple way, in dreamless state, deep sleep state, when there's no thought, where is Ramana and you for you?
True. And I know I'm holding on to, and it's not, Ramana is very dear to me, and I probably shouldn't be posting this video because but anyway, so
Ramana was inspiration for me. So accept that. Let's point at least and realize the truth. In deep sleep, when there is no thought, where is Ramana, the world, the body, the moon, the sun? Where are they? Every night in dreamless sleep, all of it, what happens to it? What is your experience?
it's there somewhere. It's there.
How?
Everything is there.
That's your experience? Or you lose everything? Not in the dream.
You're saying zero, I'm saying infinity. That's the only difference. I feel it's all there.
What is there? What is there? Ramana is there? The conceptual image
Maybe,
about
yeah. So
yourself
maybe
is
it
there?
is just so deep hardwired into my understanding that, yeah. So that's what I mean. It's not yet fully. Yeah.
Some place I read, Ramana was pointing that just the understanding that there's the three states, the waking state, the dreaming state, and deep sleep state. When one realizes when they are in deep sleep state, the world disappears. That trigger for them the quest to find really what is beyond what they perceive to be real, what is beyond their conceptual image they have about themselves and others, what is beyond the mind. Because obviously in the waking state, it appears so real what we perceive as the world, the objects of the world appear so real. Yet when I dream, in the dream the five senses close and I cannot perceive the objects of the world, and still the dream appears to be so real. So what is more real, the dream while I dream, or the world in the waking state? And I wonder and I question, how come both the waking state, the objects of the world, and the dream disappear in deep sleep? Yet what remains there? When there is no thought, when there is no world, what remains there? Do I lose who I am? Or I still just in ignorance, not consciously aware of who I am? Because in deep sleep there's still ignorance and bliss. Ignorance, when I wake up from the deep sleep state, I do not remember what happened. So there was just a lapse of memory. And bliss, I report that I had a good night's sleep or I slept happily. So I'm always happy or experience a glimpse of happiness in that state. Yet still there is ignorance because I don't know, I'm not consciously aware. Yet one can see, and until I was exposed to the knowledge, I didn't even realize that there is a state that is dreamless state, deep sleep state. Because for the mind, it recognizes only the dreaming and the waking states. So for the mind, this is all that there is, that exists, is the dream and this state, the waking state. Deep sleep state, I don't know what it is. So the wise or the sages come out of compassion to point, because when one is in samadhi or directly experience who they are awake to the waking state, the dreaming state, and the deep sleep state. Because these states actually have a beginning and an end, and they cancel each other. Means in the dreaming state, the waking does not exist. In the waking state, the dream state is unreal. It's just a dream. And in the deep sleep state, the waking state and the dreaming state is absent. So basically we can say that waking state counter dreaming and deep sleep, and dreaming state cancel waking state and deep sleep, and deep sleep basically cancel dreaming and waking state. So we can see that actually that none of these three states have true continuity.
What do you mean by when you say cancel?
Cancel means when there is a beginning of one state, the other two are out. There cannot be dreaming state and waking state simultaneously.
Okay. So they all can't simultaneously exist?
They cannot.
Yeah, okay.
Means there is no continuity in them. Although the mind, the ego, thinks there is a continuity for some reason. It imagines continuity due to memory. The illusion of continuity is only due to memory.
Yes, I can understand that. So I think clearly it's because I think this would not be the situation if I had experienced something, or maybe it's a concept, I don't know. So where is the place of intelligence in all this? And I don't mean intelligence of the mind, but there is a cosmic intelligence that runs the show, right?
True intelligence lies when the mind subsides in the silence. All the rest, I don't think it's true intelligence. I don't find that my mind is very intelligent.
Right, I totally agree. My mind is not. But I'm talking about, just in terms, there's energy and there's intelligence which the universe is made up of, and in that...
1 second, not so quickly. Energy still is perceived in the mind. Okay? The thought perceives energy because the thought is more subtle than energy. If we look at layers from most gross to subtle, the body is the most gross. Then prana, energy, is more subtle. Then its ego is more subtle than the energy, the prana. Then there is intellect, what they call in India buddhi, is more subtle than the ego. So we can see that even energy is perceived in the mind. So the prana, obviously, there is individual prana and there is cosmic prana, which is the same prana. The individual prana is just trapped in the body, and when it comes out of the body, basically the body dies. Yet the prana inside the body and the prana outside the body is the same prana. An example would be the air. If we take a cup, the air inside the cup and the air outside of the cup is the same air. Yet the cup is inside the air. So the prana inside the body and the prana outside the body is the same prana, yet the body is inside the prana itself.
So talking about cosmic and that, but so let's take the example of some great teachers or like common energies that from the Indian, like say Shiva or Ganesha, or in the concept or in the mind, it's that connecting with those energies will empower that energy within ourselves to awaken.
That's possible.
So, so that means my understanding of all one universe, there are signatures of these different energies that remain even after dissolution into into that cosmic consciousness. Because let's say I can say a mantra that connects me to that energy, to awaken that energy within me.
It's possible.
I'm connecting with the signature of something which... So how does that work?
It triggers or awaken and bring into the consciousness of the mind this vibration, a frequency of that energy, that's all. Yet still, even this frequency and that energy, when there is no thought, it doesn't exist. The only thing why one thinks it exists because, again, it goes in the waking state when the five senses open up and it perceives the objects of the world, including the energy, and says, yeah, after dissolution it exists. Yet now it perceives it, so it created, it manifested instantaneously. When the I thought appears, basically it's three things happen almost simultaneously. The I thought appears, it thinks it is a physical body in the world. So I am a physical body inside the world, and then I can perceive all the objects of the world, including the energy and the manifestation of this energy in the world. When in fact, I would raise the question and ask, is the world in the mind or the mind is in the world?
So if the world is in the mind, I think that understanding has to awaken from within me, right?
That's right.
Think we can communicate it.
The only reason what happens, because in the mind we have a lower mind and a higher mind. The lower mind, we would say it's the ego that identifies with the body as the self even. Yeah? And then the higher mind is the mind that discriminates the thoughts, determine if the lower mind is a physical body. Yes? This is what Shankaracharya in the Viveka Chudamni talks about. The buddhi, the intellect, which is the higher mind, determines the true nature of objects. It doesn't discriminate the objects of the world. It discriminates the I thought that thinks and believes that it is a physical object, the body. So that buddhi comes and discriminate and examine, is the ego a physical body or just a conceptual image and not a physical body? The moment it can be recognized as a conceptual image, the ego cannot get attached anymore to this idea that it is a body. It dissolves, it disappears, because it's a phantom. It's not really in the first place. So the higher mind is a higher intelligence. The higher mind is, we would say, more cosmic. The lower mind is identified with the body. So from the lower mind that identifies as a physical body, as an object, it cannot see that the world is only in the mind, because it believes it is a physical body, so it says, I am in the world. So my mind is in the world and not vice versa.
Yeah, so I get that. But in that same line of thought, so we're talking about, let's say, Shankaracharya and Ramana, okay? They were two very different manifestations of the same high cosmic consciousness. Their signatures are different. Like you can connect to each of them differently, and like that to million, right? So when
I don't connect to them. No, this is misunderstanding. When I read the words, I use the words as a vehicle to see the highest truth within, because they pointing to universal truth. It's not individual, means it's a higher mind. Because that mind is one, it sees the highest truth. So if I follow the words, I can see the vision of the sage. In that moment, it's the same vision. There is no Ramana, there is no me, there is only this vision of understanding. So the words are just like a vehicle, a plane. And and that's it. Nothing to do with the physical. Nothing to do with the story I tell about the manifestation.
Right. So that might have been a bad example. I'm talking only from the point of view of mantras and the energy that they carry. And if it is connected, if I say a mantra about Ganesha and it connects me to Ganesha, What does that mean? Just an energy of some intelligence and that can be awakened within me then?
Yeah, and mantra just purifies the mind and removes impurity and builds concentration and awakens a certain frequency.
Awakens a certain frequency.
Yeah, yeah. Except don't settle for that. It's not enough because you have to inquire even who is concentrating on the mantra. Who is that I? Where is this I arise from? Find out that. Then it leaves you as you, which is the source of all even mantras. I don't say don't concentrate on the mantra. Just investigate who is the one who thinking, concentrating. Who is that I? Who is that one? Is that you? Or are you prior to that one? I don't tell people don't practice. I don't have any objection. I encourage people to practice whatever they want to practice. It just I invite them to examine who is the one who's practicing. And is this who they truly are?
Yeah, I know that. I mean, I've been reading the Ribu Gita recently, and in that it says that the only mantra to be practiced is that I am, like Aham Brahmasmi, I am everything.
It's not a mantra.
About
there is a difference between concentration, which the mind concentrates on itself. So if you, the Mahavakayam, they talk about the supreme sentence is I am that I am. So, or I am Brahman, I am, or I am Brahman, or I am that, it doesn't really matter. As long as it is subjective thought, if you add to I am anything, so it's not going to be I am an apple, because if you add an apple, right away it points, it's a thought, it's objective thought, apple. You can visualize it. Yet if you concentrate I am pure consciousness, the mind does not know what is pure consciousness. So it's not an objective thought, it is subjective thought. Means it's more subtle in the mind. So if you concentrate I am pure consciousness, or I am Brahman, or I am that,
it objectifies it.
No, it doesn't.
Right? Because I give my concept of consciousness to it.
So then you don't concentrate. You have to give up the idea about what it is. If you just hold on to it.
I think I should just feel it maybe, because for me then I have all these concepts about consciousness and how it is, and how Ramana is in it and Ganesha is in it. I made up so many stories possibly, unconsciously, without meaning to.
So I invite you to do just a short experiment right now. So maybe I would be able to convey the message to you, okay? So you would truly understand what concentration is, just even for a moment. So I invite you to concentrate, I am that I am. Yeah? So you repeat it in your mind. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. Okay? And only think of that. I am that I am. Not other thoughts. Don't conceptualize what it means, because then you move from the concentration. Just repeat, I am that I am.
Like empty words? Empty words then.
Yeah.
Because I'm not supposed to give it meaning.
That's right. As you ride on this concentration, it concentrates the mind and it cleans it from all the concepts about it. And as the concentration narrows to I am and I and merges, you directly experience who you are, which has nothing to do with the sentence of concentration or the concept. So it's just a vehicle that takes the mind to return back to you, because you are already that pure consciousness.
Yeah. So for me, I think mantras are very powerful. So now I need to say it mentally, but empty that the fact that I'm connecting with anybody, any energy from it. Is that kind of what you're saying? Like,
I say that
you're saying,
I am that I am is not a mantra.
But it's not attracting me to say it. So, I mean, I could say it now. But I know that when I get back to I'll get back to the mantras which attract me, because I built up a story.
Then use the mantra. Let them use them as a vehicle.
Vehicles, yeah.
Use them as a vehicle. So use the mantra, connect to whatever, yet the moment the mind is quiet, stop the mantra too and just be silent as silence itself.
Yes, exactly. I think that's the next phase. And to not have a story about the love that I feel for that or connection and all those stories.
Yeah. This is duality.
Yes.
I love something else, so there's me and there's another, yes?
Yeah. So that's true. I think that's going to be interesting to try to feel the power of that, knowing I can acknowledge it's powerful and then just be with it and not have my story attached to it.
Yeah. This is what I find I create the most, is just stories. All the rest happens by itself.
So you still create stories, or you feel you stopped?
I
know it's a personal question.
Yeah, it's a good question. So I never move, neither you. I never change, neither you. And the I that thinks it is a separate entity creates stories that are not even real. Yet I cannot say this is who I am, yet I would not deny that the I creates stories.
Yeah. Yeah, for now, this seems to be the truth, and let me try to experience that. And I think it's all dynamic, and so who knows? But for now, so be it.
The mind is dynamic. Who you are never changes. The body is ever changing. The mind is ever changing.
Yeah.
Who you are is changeless.
Changeless, true, but who I experience of it's got to be much more infinite than I can even imagine. So that's what I mean by dynamic. In terms of...
No, it's not dynamic. Tell me how dynamic is right now the screen in your computer. It's not affected by the images or whatever is projected upon the screen. Yet the projection is very dynamic, and the camera and the pixels and blah blah blah, everything is moving. The screen is changeless. It's not even conscious of what appears on it. And that screen is who we are. That's the truth. Whether the mind agree or disagree, it doesn't really matter for the screen.
Okay, lots more for me to do or not to do.
As long as you think you're doing, keep doing. This is good. Keep doing and practice, concentrate, whatever. Use the mantras. Put all the effort you can to wake up. Once there is awakening, you realize that the one that was thinking, that was doing everything, is not you. Has nothing to do with who you are.
Yeah. That'll be a fun point to come to. switch has to happen in a much deeper way, I think.
It's not there, it's you. Not as a personal entity.
Right. Okay. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
And